No, that was you see that? Okay, he's laughing. Hey, just get her good spot.
Yes, it is. Can you believe it?
Let's get it straight. You get yourself straight. You take a bait. You just take the bait.
I think Steph's taking one right now. I need.
We've been sitting on the edge of our seat all week.
I know. Thank you.
She got it, and she said, "This is sweet." I don't know about that. So my sister let it get tea next to her, and she sweet. My sister wants it.
See y'all.
Want a copy of this?
Yeah.
We'll just, I would say it's like a couple times an hour. Step back and just check on it, make sure
Call me again the gammas.
I gotta make sure I'm snack. I gotta make sure I don't
Black cats can work too. Yeah. You get the cats? Black cat? Yeah, I guess. I might be cats. It might be my Christmas gift to myself. If I will. I'm not allowed to do happened to me, I mean, already. Damn. And I sat down. I have things on Flight Club. I never got one, so now I gotta get I had yeah, I had those. One of those, yeah, so hard. I got one Flight Club, they be like, he said he was small. He said small. But my trial, you know, more. So it's
You might get like job opportunities for having people go on court. Play clerk on oh, we're gonna be on. Oh, hey, just look up the cameras. How you on and people like my family.
Oh, I ain't. Oh no. Oh no, I'm chilling. Oh no, you want
I mean, just feel like my toe.
Oh yeah. Yeah, move on. on break, cause see, they got trains. This kind of days, Saturday. Spring.
She said, on Wednesday, I called Judge Judy, won't be on. She's like,
I believe you.
you sure it's not fake news? It's really. I might not be.
All rise. Cobb County Superior Court is now in session. Honorable Judge Sonia N. Brown is presiding.
Good morning, everyone. Please be seated. Good morning, everyone. Again, I am Judge Sonia Brown, the presiding judge for the criminal trial of the state of Georgia versus Matthew Scott Lanz, 229-00922. We are present here in the open courtroom, present at the court, the clerk, the court reporter, Attorney Jimmy Berry, who represents Mr. Lanz, and representing the state, our assistant district attorneys, Green and Horowitz. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Right, so Attorney Berry, I see that Mr. Lanz is not present here in the open courtroom. Is there anything that you'd like to put on the record this morning?
Yes, there is, Your Honor. I had a conversation with Mr. Lanz this morning. He requested the court that he not have to come out here this morning. We did a waiver of his presence, and he signed that. So we would ask the court to allow him not to be present.
Anything the state would like to put on the record?
No, I see the waiver and I believe it's in the file. All right, so the court has, before coming out, court did have an in-chambers discussion with the parties, both the state and the defense, and the court did do some research on what the court could or could not do when it comes to a defendant in a criminal case waiving any appearance at any point in any court appearance. And the case law that we have been able to find gives the defendant the right to waive their right to appear at any portion of a court appearance. And there is no authority that allows the court to require them because it is the defendant's right at that point. And so a waiver of presence at sentence hearing has been filed here in the court at 10:22 a.m. It reads, comes now defendant in the above entitled case and states the following. I have been fully advised of my right to be present for my sentencing hearing, and I voluntarily and knowingly do hereby waive and give up the right to be present in my sentencing hearing today, November 21st, 2025, submitted this 21st day of November 2025, signed by the defendant Matthew Scott Lanz and his attorney Jimmy Berry, and it has been filed in court. And so we will proceed with the sentencing today. The court will not delay it, and the court will proceed with allowing the state and the defense to present any arguments or any statements that they would like to present to the court today. Right.
Yes,
Any
Judge.
comments?
Yes, Judge. So we have 13 victim impact statements, and so you can proceed at that time. At this time, we would call Timothy Hicks. And Judge, would you like them
Yes,
at the podium or?
Yes.
Raise your right hand, please. You do solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give the court in the matter now pending shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do. Right, have a seat for me, Mr. Hicks. I know you have already testified, so I won't need you to say or spell your correct. We can go to the record. Okay, Attorney Horowitz, you can proceed.
Thank you, Judge. Good morning, Mr. Hicks.
Good morning.
So it is our understanding that you have prepared a statement as to how this case has affected you. So at this time, I would ask that you provide that statement for the court.
Well, I'll tell you, I haven't necessarily prepared anything formal. I've got a chest, bronchitis and stuff, so I'm gonna have to take a break.
Take your time, there's some water there if you need it.
I've had 4 years to write a statement, and I can't tell you the times I've sat down. And attempted to write one. Only to find it was inadequate. So I crumble up the paper and throw it away and try again. I've spent time alone in the woods, on the lake, at my son's grave. And I just find that there's just really not words proper enough to convey how this has impacted me personally. And, Your Honor, look, I'm in the courtroom. There's so many people here that love to do those kind of people they were. They earned this by being good people, good Christian people. I'm going to share a story with you. It seems that my life took off when I was 19 years old. When I turned 19, I became a law enforcement officer and got married all at the same time. I'd always taken life pretty serious, and and I felt I had that maturity level to pursue those. And so I did, and I spent my first 2 years on law enforcement and as a husband. And then on my 21st birthday, like many people do, they go out and celebrate and party, and some drink, some don't. But they celebrate that 21st milestone. For me, that milestone was the birth of my first son, Justin. On my 21st birthday, I spent over 12 hours humped over a hospital bed. My wife was in labor with him. That's how I celebrated it. And I would not change it for the world. My son was almost born on my birthday. As God would have it, it was just barely the next day, on 26th of May, I'm 25th. Having children in order for any parent is one of the proudest days of your life. It's truly a gift from God. Not just a gift, but a blessed gift. I mean, for God to bestow upon people, anyone, children, God's entrusting you with something that He considers very precious. And that's how I feel about my son and my daughter-in-law. They were precious. Mr. Lanz gets the opportunity today to not come out here facing us, facing our tears, our hurt, the hole that will be forever in our hearts. I understand the law, I understand his rights, and I would do nothing to infringe those. I, for one, have stood in position to protect persons' rights. But I do think, Your Honor, that it speaks volumes of his guilt or innocence. If I was accused of a crime or otherwise, and knew emphatically, without doubt, a clear conscience before God Almighty, I would stand and face my accusers to my last breath if I were innocent. He's chosen not to do that. I could sit here all day and tell you how wonderful Justin and Amber are as people. And I know that oftentimes the folks that love another, they speak those words about the person they love. And as you'll hear from me, and other people will do the same thing, but there's one slight difference. It comes out of Christian love. That's a different kind of love, Your Honor. That's a deep, agape love. It gets no purer than that. Amen. To say that I have a hole in my heart forever is pointless. You know, I love all my children. I've got 3 total. There's always something special about your firstborn. It's the first for everything that you do as a parent. But again, all my children are gifts from God. And it hurts me as a man of the house, as the chief priest of the family, Your Honor, to watch my family suffer, knowing there's nothing I can do. I took an oath before God during my wedding vows. I took an oath to myself raising children And there's nothing I can do to make them feel better. To heal the hurt, to bring a brother back to my daughter and my son, to bring a child back to my wife. And as a man, that feels a bit helpless. Because all I want to do is the right thing by my family. And in this case, I can't, and I'll never have the opportunity. I also feel like I've always told my children that I'll always be there for them and I'll protect them as best I can, even in their adult years. As a law enforcement officer, I know what evil works out in the streets and in the hiding spots. I faced it face to face personally, and I made that promise to him. In this particular case, though, I wasn't able to protect Justin. He had to stand on his own 2 feet as a man and be gunned down. For what reason? You know, if there'd been some sort of conflict between them, or even if the offender stole $1, certainly a life's worth way more than $1, but I could fathom a little differently. But senseless, why? I still have that question, and it hasn't been answered, and it may never be this side of heaven. But why? I just want to know why. I'm gonna try to wrap it up, Your Honor. That's so to give other people an opportunity to speak. What I'm about to tell you, Your Honor, I do not want to sway your decision on sentencing whatsoever, because I want the defendant to face whatever the court sees fit. But I'm going to sit here today and tell you that I forgive Matthew Lanz for what he's done, for what he's stolen from us. For me personally, I can't speak for everybody, I speak for myself. But I forgive him. Because we all need the grace and mercy of God. And I cannot, in good conscience, withhold what I ask God to give me from another person, including him. And as heinous and as evil as it's been, it's my prayer that Mr. Lanz goes to prison. And during that time, does some serious self-reflection. It's not mental rehabilitation he needs, Your Honor, it's an exorcism. That's what he needs. He needs a big healthy dose of Jesus. And I pray that he'll find that once he's there, and it's time to reflect. Because hell is real, and hell is real. And regardless of my hurt and my pain, I don't want anyone to suffer hell. So, I hope you all can understand that. I can't stay bitter for the remainder of my days. I've got to rise up now and raise my grandson, do the best I can to bring healing and comfort to my family. And I can't remain bitter. I want Matthew to face the consequences of his decisions. And Your Honor, he had a choice. When he arrived at the residence and approached the area of entry more than one time, that was his valley of decision. That is where he was faced with Satan on one shoulder whispering in his ear and the Holy Spirit on the other. God gave him an opportunity to turn away and leave, but he made a choice not to. For whatever reason, he made a choice to carry out what he intended to carry out. My son and daughter-in-law didn't have a choice. I appreciate you listening. You probably hear this kind of stuff often in your profession. I don't know how much more sincere I can be. I hurt. And I hurt deep. And a portion of my heart is gone forever. Save eternity. And that day I look forward to. I think I'm finished now. Thank you, man.
Thank you, Mr. Hicks.
No question.
Mr. Horowitz, you can call the next witness.
So the next three actually want to come up together in support of one another. So at this time, the state's going to call Heather Falkowski, Audrey Logan, and Michelle McGinnis.
And we can give them the option if they don't want to see it, whatever they want.
I think you did.
Yeah, okay.
Raise your right hand, please. You can solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before the matter now pending shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Have a seat for me, and once seated, if you would please state and spell your true and correct legal name for the record.
My name is Heather Falkowski, and that's Heather Falkowski.
Good morning, Ms. Falkowski. Just before you start with your statement, if you'll indicate to the court kind of your relationship with Amber and Justin.
Amber was one of my best friends since we were 13.
Perfect. So at this time, I'll ask that you give your statement.
Your Honor, thank you for allowing me the chance to speak. Amber was, like I said, one of my best friends since we were 13. For 2 decades, she was stitched into every season of my life. Homecomings, prom, spring breaks at the beach, weddings, baby showers, and so much more. She was the kind of friend you expected to have forever, Justin too. Amber and Justin were not just good people, they were extraordinary ones. Amber was loyal, selfless, funny, and had a heart of gold. She cared deeply about people. She had a way of making everyone around her feel valued and warm. Justin shared that same goodness. He wasn't just a wonderful husband and father, he was a firefighter. He spent his life walking towards danger so others could walk away from it. He gave his days, his energy, and his courage to protect people he would never meet. He lived his life in service to others. When my first son was born, Amber took the time to knit him this teddy bear. Since her death, I've had another son. He's actually the exact age Jacob was that night. And he will never have a teddy bear made by Amber. One of my children has something from her hands. The other will only ever have stories. One of the heaviest burdens I carry is knowing that Amber's last ordinary moment was spent texting me and another friend as we made dinner plans. It was something we had done countless times. It felt so small, so normal. I didn't know that her response would be the last time I would ever hear from her. The next morning, as I was decorating my Christmas tree, my life was suddenly split between before and after. Since their deaths, the world feels dimmer. The grief is emotional, but it also lives in my body. It's the ache of reaching for my phone to tell my friend something and remembering she is gone. It is sitting in silence on days that should have been filled with laughter. It's dinner at Olive Garden with her seat left empty. It's the sharp, disorienting pain of knowing two people who should still be here are not. Not a single day has passed that I have not thought about them. And alongside this grief is trauma. I needed therapy to process their horrific murders. I cannot sit in my living room at night unless the outside lights are on because darkness now feels dangerous. My husband has to tell me anytime he's on his way home because the sound of someone entering our home makes me panic. This violence stole my sense of safety in my own home. But the greatest loss belongs to Jacob. Jacob lost his entire world in one night. He will grow up without the mother who adored him in every way a child deserves to be adored. He will never feel her arms around him after a hard day. He will never hear her voice cheering him on, never get the whispered reassurance that she loved him more than anything. And he lost his dad, who was strong, kind, devoted, and very brave. A father who ran into burning buildings so other families could stay whole. He will miss out on lessons, moments, memories, and love that no one else can ever replicate. Though I know his grandparents will all do a fantastic job. After all, they raised Amber and Justin. The loss that Jacob carries is lifelong. It will shape every milestone, every birthday, every achievement, and every heartbreak. There is no justice on earth that can give him back what was taken. Amber and Justin were stolen from their son, their families, their friends, and from the future they deserved. They deserved to grow old. They deserved ordinary mornings and long years watching Jacob grow up. They deserved to give Jacob a sibling, something they deeply wanted. They deserved safety, peace, and a lifetime together. I hope this court understands the full weight of what this world lost when Amber and Justin were taken from us. Justice cannot restore what was broken, but it can honor the truth. And the truth is that two extraordinary people were taken from us, and the ripple of that loss will continue for the rest of our lives. Thank you.
Question.
Just to correct myself prior to Ms. Volkowski, obviously gave her statement by herself, but this next one is Audrey Logan, Michelle McGinnis, and along. Oh, just Amanda Creel. I apologize. So at this time, the state would move to tender what's marked as State's Exhibit Sentencing 1, which is located on this master drive here. And it's an audio recording of Amanda Creel's statement, and her name is spelled Amanda, and then Creel, Creel.
We don't have any objection to that, Judge. We went over that this morning.
States 1, sentencing.
May I publish?
Yes.
And just for the court, it's just an audio statement, not a video.
Good morning, Your Honor. My name is Amanda Creel. I originally wasn't going to speak today, but Wednesday during a break, I had an overwhelming feeling that I needed to talk to you today. I never imagined that I would be standing in a courtroom talking about my best friend and her husband. About how they were senselessly murdered and taken away from us. The people that have been sitting with me this week and the others over Zoom are some of the most important people in Amber and Justin's life. This week has reignited our pain, the pain that was caused by heinous actions of the defendant. Amber and Justin were my friends, but I've known Amber since the 5th grade. She was my best friend. I grew up with her. I was supposed to grow old with her, but that was taken away from me. I could tell you countless silly stories about Amber and I. There were stories about homecomings, chorus, boyfriends, sleepovers, and breakups. And that was just 5th grade through high school. As we grew older, it was about college classes, jobs, boys, karaoke. But boy, could that girl sing. I would love to hear her sing in person again. Instead of through videos, that's all I have left. Videos and pictures and memories. It was through Amber that I met Justin. The day Amber introduced Justin to me. She was nervous, but one full drink ended up being 10 years of friendship with my Justina. That's what I call them sometimes. We actually went on a cabin trip, and I encouraged them to stop being stubborn and just finally say I love you. And when they got engaged, she called me at work to tell me that they were engaged. Justin had forgotten to text me, so I missed it. I still bring it up to him when I go to visit him at his grave. I told him I would never let him live that down. My mom hosted their engagement party and helped me plan their wedding shower. We helped get decorations and papers ready for the wedding, and I got to see her try on her wedding dress. And when they finally got married, I was in the maid of honor and stood by her side, crying with joy. That day was perfect. And then finally, one Christmas, I had a picture of her saying, "Best friends get ready to dance." She was pregnant with Jacob. We talked on the phone every day, our commutes to and from work during her pregnancy. And boy, was she feisty. I just knew it was going to be a boy. But I hope one day she would be able to have a Disney princess too. I was to be there the day Jacob was born. I have so many memories of them. But only ones, because they're not here anymore. They're gone now. I can't be there today, but Audrey and Michelle are there for me, for her dad, for our friends, for our little village. The 3 of us have been friends with Amber for over 20 years, and Justin for 10 years. We had to call each other about our friend's murders on November 17th, 2021. This devastated us. Our friends were gone. We spent days on the phone, constantly trying to understand how the horrible thing could happen like that to such amazing people. Amber and Justin had the best hearts and were so kind and loving. Why did this happen? How did this happen? We laughed and cried talking about them. We had to fill in for Amber, for one another. Our trauma and loss bonded us. We decided one day that we were trauma sisters and that Amber chose good people to be her friends. She chose us so we could have someone to lean on when she was gone. Because somehow she knew we needed it. On November 17th, 2021, our lives were fractured into a before and an after. Before, we had Amber and Justin. We had long conversations, hugs, singing, and dancing. We had plans together for dinner, birthdays, weddings, and Christmas. We had our lives together as friends and family. After we found out about the murder, all that ended. We were stuck with the after. They're never going to be able to talk to us again. No more hugs, no more singing, no more dancing, no more birthdays, no more plans, no more celebrations, no more anger and Justin. Our friends are gone. Shot and killed in their home. We have to move on without them. I got married without Amber and Justin by my side. I went to Michelle's wedding in their place. Audrey adopted 2 beautiful baby girls that we got to meet, but Amber and Justin will never meet. She will never meet my children. Our lives will never be the same because their souls were too good to be replaced. We will forever live with that hole in our hearts. The defendant didn't just take our friends' lives, he stole their sense of security. We now have lights, security systems, and fear. Fear for our safety, fear for random noises, fear that we never had before this incident. On November 17th, 2021, Amber and Justin left their son because they were shot and killed while he was sleeping upstairs instead. Jacob was left alone for 12 hours, soiled and alone. But he will never be alone again, because every person in this courtroom will ensure that he has the closest thing to a life the defendant tried to take from him. He will never be an orphan. Your Honor, we ask you to sentence the defendant to the maximum sentence. This man deserves to stay behind bars for all the trauma and loss he has caused. We hope you consider our request when you make your decision on the sentence. Thank you for your time.
For the record, the waived states 1 sentencing 1 in its entirety. Now, finally, Heather Volkowski.
No.
Sorry. Audrey Logan and Michelle Mooney.
Do you all want to stand there, whichever ones y'all are comfortable with?
Get you all to raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give the court in the matter now pending shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
So if I'll start here on the right. If you'll just introduce yourself, spell your name for the court reporter, and then we'll go down the line.
It's Michelle McGinnis, MICHELLE, MCGUINNESS.
Sorry, I'm Audrey Logan, AUDREYLOGAN.
Matt Logan, MATTLOGN.
And I'll start with Michelle. At this time, if you, or whoever wants to give one first. Okay.
Your Honor, my name is Audrey Logan, and Amber and Justin were my husband and I's best friends. My husband, Matt, and I have known Amber for as long as we can remember. I'm talking elementary days when she refused to let Matt eat lunch alone and even shared food with him. Not only did we attend elementary, middle, and high school together, but we played softball together for many years. We joke because I had a bad habit of being angry after striking out or getting out on base and come back to the dugout to sulk where she knew I didn't want to be talked to, but she'd always be like, "It's okay, girl, you got this." She was not going to stand for me being in a bad mood or being too hard on myself. We became even closer after our high school days, though, and that's when she introduced Matt and I to Justin. I vividly remember that day because Matt's not a people person. He just isn't. He was so concerned that he was just going to be like everybody else and we would be fighting our tongues all night. But the day they met at Patty's is forever ingrained in my brain. That's the day that him and Justin became inseparable. I truly never imagined the day that one day I would stand in front of a courtroom full of people and talk about two of my favorite people in the past tense. That I'd sit here hand in hand with some of their most favorite people reliving the absolute horror that happened on November 17th, 2021. reliving a pain that has no end due to choices that monster made that night. My life will now always be separated into before and after. On September 17, 2021, I went to bed, excited for the weekend plans I just made with Amber this year at church. I hadn't seen her since Halloween night when we took our babies trick-or-treating together. After that, my daughter and I came down with RSV, so I kept my distance away from everyone. A few days earlier, she came to my house knowing she wouldn't be able to see me in the middle of her busy schedule, just so leave a care package. That's the type of person she was. We were excited to be able to get back to church and see each other. The very last text that I ever received from her said Sunday, with an exclamation point, because we knew we would see each other again in just 4 days. On November 18th, I woke up, planned to do some Christmas shopping, so I texted her to ask if Jacob had a Christmas list so I could get the stamp of approval on my gift idea. She never received that message, and I would never get a response. See, that was before my worst nightmare came to life. My best friends murdered in their home. Their lifeless bodies left in their home. Their son confused. My mommy and daddy won't wake up. He just left them there like they didn't matter. And like Jacob didn't matter. But they mattered. They weren't just our best friends. They were our daughter's godparents. They were our family. They came beside me and prayed for me, over me and with me during all the hardest parts of my life. Amber was my voice of reason, my confidant, and my biggest fan. And Justin was always there to make us laugh and ground us when we needed it the most. They were in our wedding, and they were in ours. They were in our wedding, we were in theirs, sorry. We spent many weekends together, standing up entirely too late, watching any alien movie or silly vibe we could get our hands on. Then when our children came, we were at their births, waiting outside the door for the minute we could hold each other's babies and check on each other. We started to create our own traditions with our babies, like family vacations, pumpkin patch trips, and trick-or-treating. But you see, that was all before. Now, we're in the after. A big piece of my husband and I died that day too. So much joy was stolen from our lives, our innocence, our peace of mind. Our home is now lit up outside 24/7, surrounded by cameras monitoring every corner, every blind spot. Our life is full of ring notifications or Life 360 alerts. Any little noise in the middle of the night wakes us up and strikes fear. I can't even come home at night without fear that someone's watching my every move. And that's just how I feel. Imagine how Amber's dad feels, or how Justin's parents feel. That type of fear never goes away. That monster took away our sense of security, even in our own homes. Now we're forced to live a life in a world that none of us asked or planned for. Amber and Justin never got to see our daughter Peyton, their goddaughter, start school, or see her passion for dance or cheer, or attend a recital, and they won't be there for any of the most important moments of her life. They'll never meet our other two daughters, Quinn and Brooke, who I know they would have loved beyond measure, and they would have taken them under their wing as any good godparents do, because they weren't just incredible parents, they were amazing godparents too, always loving Peyton as if she were their own. I needed them for all those moments, and I still need them for moments to come. I need them next to me in the road in church on Sundays. That's where their absence is felt the most. They may have always been a little late because Amber needed her Sharpies, but Justin needed his Dunkin', and they were going to get both. Always. But they were there, worshiping their Savior and praying for each other and others because that's who they were. They were believers. They are believers. Even though my last image of them at church is their lifeless bodies laying in their coffins in front of the altar, I know they're still worshiping beside me. It's just from heaven now. Yes, I know where they are and that I'll see them again one day because of their love for Christ, and for that I'm grateful. I sure could use an Amber hug right now. But this is not the life I planned for, or the life they planned for. On November 17, 2021, I took their son into bed and sat down for some well-deserved time together. Just 2 more days and the weekend would be here, their first full weekend together in a while. They had plans to decorate for Christmas and were so excited. Decorating a big new house, a girl's dream. Then that monster decided to steal that from them. Why? And we may never know. But Your Honor, these 2 humans, Amber and Justin Hicks, were 2 literal angels on the earth. It sounds so cliche, but it was the truth. Living their day to day, putting nothing but good into this crazy world, and that monster stole everything from them in less than 10 minutes. Everything from us and absolutely everything from Jacob in 10 minutes. Now they will never see Jacob grow up, go to school, start driving, get a job, get married, and start a family. They will miss every single moment of his life. And Amber lost her mom. After Amber lost her mom as a baby, this would have been her worst nightmare. Jacob to grow up without his mom and his dad. They did everything right, and it wasn't enough. Jacob will carry this trauma with him forever. That pain can never be erased, and for what? Amber and Justin had so much life to live, and that monster, I said over there, he's not here, stole that from all of us. They deserve to grow old and experience so much more that the world had to offer. But that monster did not steal everything. He will not steal our ability to speak their names every single day. We will continue to speak their names and their memories, especially for Jacob. We'll make sure the world remembers just who this monster stole from us. I know that my God called me to forgive, but I'm not there yet. And my husband will certainly never forget this monster. One day he'll meet his ultimate judgment, and what a day that will be. Today, though, Your Honor, we ask you to sentence him to the maximum extent of the law. Lock him away and go with the key, and maybe never have to see his face again. Thank you.
I'm sorry. Wait a second.
That water is good for you.
Yeah, thanks, I need that. On November 17, 2021, 2 of the best people anyone could ever know were carelessly taken from this world at the prime of their lives. Justin was working his way to become a paramedic, and Amber was ready to settle into the role that she was made for, a mother dedicated full time to her children. I say children because every person in here who knew her knows that she would have at least had 3 by now. I would like the defendant to know that he's not the only person in this world who has suffered loss. Amber lost her mother at just 3 months old. Her father, Mark, raised her on his own, and she had to grow up without a mother. I remember vividly as kids, her staying the night in my house and was talking endlessly about her mom and where she would be right now, how much they looked alike, and how she used to be a model, how she had her eyes, how the number one thing she wanted to be when she grew up was a mother. He took that from her. He took that from Jacob. He took that from her father, her family, and her friends. But the one thing he will never take from her or Justin is the love that they have for that little boy. Thanks to the defendant, Jacob has a village in the hundreds backing him for the rest of his life. And there will not be a day that goes by without him knowing who they were and what they stood for, how amazing they were, and how proud of him they would be. I know Amber, and I know she would say that she forgives the defendant. I can't speak for Justin, but I feel as if he would say the same thing. However, I have never and will never be the angels that they were and will always be now. I will never forgive him. There is no taking back or undoing what he's done. He has done a disservice to this world by taking these two people out of it. He ambushed and gunned them down in their own home like they were animals trespassing on his property. when in reality, he came into their home with their baby asleep upstairs and murdered them in cold blood without a single thought behind it. Callous doesn't even begin to describe the creature he is. He is inhumane, he is heartless, he is a monster. And I know that if given the opportunity, he would do it again. Because people like him don't care about the cause and effect. He will always be the victim, he will always be callous. He is dangerous, and I will be dead before I watch him put another family through this, put another child through this. It is because of this, Judge, I beg you to sentence the defendant to life with no possibility of parole. For Jacob and the future he had ripped from him on the night of November 17, 2021. Thank you.
No questions. Turn forward to comments.
Thank you, Judge. At this time, the state calls Kristen Bauer. Just read it, okay. And she complained on speaking, Judge, but she actually wrote out her statement, so I'm going to read it on her behalf.
Will you mark that as sentencing to with that?
I can do that. Yes, Judge. And it reads, Your Honor, my name is Kirsten Bauer, and that's KIRSTYN BAUER, and then in parentheses, BOGGS. Amber and I are cousins, but if I ever said that, she would correct me saying, no, you're my sister. We were only 2 years apart, both July babies. Amber was an only child due to the loss of her mother just 2 months after she was born. We were inseparable as kids. If she went, I went. She was my big sister, my maid of honor, my best friend for life. Now I'm here and she's not. It's not fair. They should be here today. Amber and Justin were the kindest people I've ever met. When people say they had hearts of gold, they truly did. I want to take everyone back to our childhood days. What a lot of people don't know is our grandparents lived 2 doors down from the Hicks family. We all grew up together playing in each other's yards or riding bikes. One day, Justin looked at me while we played in their yard and said, I'm going to marry Amber one day. Remind you, we were only kids. They were 12 at this time. I looked at him with my 10-year-old self and said, you're crazy, and laughed. How could you know that? He said, I love that girl. His brother Michael and I busted out laughing like, whatever. Fast forward to 2017, his dreams came true. The most beautiful bride walked down the aisle as to the love of her life. I've seen Justin as a grown man cry of joy that day. Lord, my sister Amber was the most beautiful bride I've ever seen. If you knew her, she just had the most beautiful smile that would light up a room that day. It was a courtyard filled with loved ones. Early in November 2021, Amber was so excited to host Thanksgiving in their new beautiful home. She couldn't wait to have the family over. She said, I love Christmas. We were going to go ahead and decorate before Thanksgiving, so we prepared Christian. It's always a running joke with us. I always said Christmas comes after Thanksgiving. She didn't care. As you have seen in the photos, she didn't spare an inch of ceiling space for that Christmas tree. She wanted the biggest and the best. The second hardest thing I have ever had to do is shatter my son Braden's world. I had to go come the 18th and tell my son his Aunt Amber and Uncle Justin were no longer here. They are now with the Lord. He was 9 then, he understood and had so many questions, but his first question was, what about Jacob? How is he? Is he okay? Where is he? At that moment, my sweet, kind-hearted boy couldn't even have emotions till he knew his baby cousin was okay. Once I told him he was okay, you could see his world shattered, and all of his memories and love came crashing down on him. When our babies hurt, we hurt even more. Jacob brings us so much love and joy. I see so much of both of his parents in him. He is so kind-hearted and always checking on you if you look sad or even raise your voice a little. We were at the beach in July, and my son is now a teenager, and he must have done something I didn't agree with, so I kind of yelled his name across the pool. Sweet Jay then got out of the pool and walked over to me on the edge and said, "Hey, Aunt KK, I just wanted to check on you to see if you were okay." He just melted my heart. This is my mother and father coming out on him. They were always checking on everyone and spreading the love. I just can't stop thinking about our sweet Jacob and how this is going to act him the rest of his life. He left the cutest little boy, Jacob, orphaned. He will never have a normal birthday, Christmas, and get to see his mommy and daddy watch him graduate, get married, or celebrate any life accomplishments he has. We as a family will try and fill that void, but no one can ever truly take his parents' place. Amber had just had a miscarriage the month prior. They wanted to add to their family so bad, but now our sweet Jacob will forever be labeled an only child. That was not supposed to happen. They wanted to fill that beautiful home with a couple more children. He was never supposed to live this life without his parents and siblings. Like I said, we can't fill that void ever, but we will try and surround him with all the love and support we can. When I say he has a village, that village is thousands and thousands of people. Cherokee County Fire and emergency personnel has been here immensely for sweet Jacob and family. Blood does not make family, and we have learned that through this entire process. This courtroom has been filled with just 1% of the people that love them and care for them. I honestly believe we could wrap this building multiple times with the amount of people that these two beautiful souls truly impacted. What Amber and Justin thought was their dream home later became their worst nightmare, along with everybody else that loved them. Our hearts will honestly be forever shattered with the loss of these two beautiful souls. Nothing can ever bring them back. What he did is not human behavior. What he did was acts of a savage animal. He sat there and preyed on them like a savage animal. He should be treated as such and locked in a cage for the rest of his life. Thank you, Your Honor, for helping us get justice for Amber and Justin.
Thank you. May I call your next witness?
At this time, the state calls Chief Eddie Robinson and Sergeant Tyler Davidson.
If y'all wanna go up.
Raise your right hand, please. You do solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give the court in the matter now pending shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Thank you.
Sorry, if you'll state your name for the record, and then I'll let you go.
My legal name is also Tyler Davidson. AUSCIN DAVIDSON. Sorry. Yeah. Justin was my rookie at the fire station. He came in, our battalion chief at the time, Johnny Wilkins, he said he's a big boy, he's got a bigger heart. So we're like, all right, well, let's see what he's got. And
we put our new guys through some training. We make sure that they can make the cut. We do a lot of hard things together, and we eat every meal together. We sleep in the same bunk rooms together. We know every secret about each other. We are a family. So me and Justin, we grow a really close bond quickly. I did not have the pleasure of growing up with them like his friends and family did back here, but that bond that we had was closer than my own family. I was telling my mom the other night I have 3 younger brothers, and Justin was closer to me than they were. We worked a side job together. Most firemen have some sort of side gig, and we worked together on our days off at the fire station. And if that wasn't enough, our families got together on weekends and we'd go fishing. And Justin was my brother. We all know what Mr. Lanz has done. He's caused a lot of grief. But out of that grief, there's been a lot of good. A lot of good. We set up a foundation to take care of Jacob financially, Jacob's pathway that I'm a part of, and the chiefs and other members of Cherokee County started another organization that helped as well, the Fire Foundation. So we've helped not only Jacob, but we've helped a lot of people through hard times in their lives financially, and getting that brotherhood together as often as we can to remember our brothers and our sisters in this field. I don't want to keep bringing up the bad stuff that happened, because we all know that it's terrifying, but I do want to say a little bit about who Justin was and Amber. And I remember the time that we were sitting in the station together one night, and I told him that my wife was pregnant with my first son, Austin, and we had a cigar together. 6 months later, he brought me outside to smoke a cigar to say that he was having a baby, Jake. And I wish I lived a little closer so my boys were closer, but my mom's here this morning, and she showed me pictures of Jacob and my son Austin and my daughter Olivia playing and taking pictures together. It's beautiful. I hope that since I get to grow up with Justin, my boy, and Jacob will, they're the same age. And I love these people. I love Justin's family, and they brought me in like their family. And I'm gonna miss them. So that's all I got.
Y'all, my name is Eddie Robinson. That's spelled E-D-D-I-E. That's R-O-B-I-N-S-O-N. Thank you for giving us a few minutes today to come and just really kind of try to bring honor and pay tribute and plead with the court for sentencing. I can validate these young ladies when they come up and they speak about Amber and growing up and things that they did. My daughter played softball with Amber and these guys. Had the luxury a couple of years of being an assistant as coaching with those kids a little bit, and what a joy they were. My daughter, through some poor decisions, unfortunately became pregnant during high school. She had the baby. He's done well. He's going to go through school. We pick on her all the time. We pick on him about the only kid that's ever graduated Sequoia High School twice. But the day he was born at the hospital, who do you think was there? I got a picture I can show you. It's Amber holding my grandson. So when they come before you, they tell you the impact that's had on them. This impact is real. It's not made up. I just want to make sure that everybody in this room realizes these are real people with real hearts. emotional impact that Mr. Lanz's decisions had on people is unimaginable. Throughout our service, learning that death, Amber's death, the world. We went to the house that morning. We stood at the street. I leaned to get to know Boston Justice Dad, who I'd known from working the streets back in Cherokee County way back. We were in disbelief. We stayed through the investigation. The investigators, you could just tell watching from a distance that they were not going to leave any stone unturned. They were going to collect every piece of evidence in great detail, and we're grateful for them for doing that. And then it was time to remove Justin and Amber's bodies from the house, and they allowed us to be part of that. And more as that may sound, it brings us honor that we could do that, because we were able to escort them over to the morgue here, and the next day we loaded them on apparatus and escorted them to the crime lab. They never spent a second alone until the day of the funeral. There were firefighters every night, stood vigil throughout the night, throughout the days leading up to the funeral, through the funeral. There were probably 1,200 or 1,500 firefighters from across the state of Georgia that had visited or was at the funeral. The number of apparatus that was in the processions were absolutely amazing, and we will not ever allow Justin and Amber's memory to die. If you walk into our paramedic training facility at our fire training complex, we have a wall, and on that wall is a big picture of Justin. There's a big sign over the door, his paramedic certificate. This is a real man that dedicated a large part of his life, 16 months, to become a paramedic. He never got to enjoy receiving that certification because of his plans. He never experienced saving lives in the back of an ambulance, practicing medicine in a road ditch. He was ready, he was prepared, he wanted to do it, but it was taken away from him. I go on and on, Your Honor, just tell you how much these people meant to this community, the parents, wonderful parents, grandparents, friends, colleagues. That he was a big old boy, and he was jolly. He really was. He could have been a great Santa Claus. I mean, you just kind of wanted to poke him every time you saw him. We have forgiven Mr. Lanz, but I will tell you, I'm gonna have to work on forgiving him again. Because the fact that he's too big of a coward to come out here today and stand before the people that he's affected really does makes me angry. And I'll pray about that, and I'll get there. It'll take some time, and I know others in the room probably feel the same way I do. And you'll get there, honey. You'll forgive him. You have to. We can't be forgiving ourselves until we forgive those that have trespassed against us. In closing, I want to tell you this. At our fire training complex, we have a big burn building and a tower, and there are roads around the outside of our complex. And for the last 4 years, there's been a change of how we do training there. Prior to those 4 years, if we were going to do a simulated emergency, our dispatch would sound something like beep, 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 engine 1, truck 1, this and that. Respond to 1, 2, 3, anywhere street, for the report of a structure fire victims. That's not how it happens anymore, because all of our roads are now named after Justin and Amber and Jacob. The perimeter circle is Sixth Circle. It's Jacob Avenue that passes in front of our barn building. And on the buildings have Amber's birthday, Justin's birthday, and Jacob's birthday. So now a dispatch to a simulated emergency in our structure will sound something like this. Engine 1, Truck 1, Battalion 1, Squad 22, Medcon, whatever other apparatus, respond to the report of a structure fire at 904 Hicks Circle. Cross street is Jacob Way, or Jacob Walk, Jacob Avenue, I'm sorry. That way, every recruit firefighter that joins Cherokee County Fire and Emergency Services, they will know that Jacob, Amber, Justin, they live strong, and that example they sent is amazing. So Lord, this day, I keep saying, Lord, that's why I need to pray right now. Your Honor, I just ask too that we know what's right, and I know that you're gonna, I trust that you're gonna make the proper decision when it comes time to sentence. And we just ask that that sentence be the maximum sentence possible. We all have to pay when we commit these kind of crimes, Lord. We just ask that you sentence them to the full extent of the law. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Sergeant. Thank you for your service. Great, turn your words and call your next witness.
At this time, the state calls Diana Hilton.
Raise your right hand, please. You do solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give the court in the matter now pending shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Thank you.
If you'll just spell your name for the court reporter, and then tell the court your relationship with Amber.
Diana. Okay, you can actually move this a little closer for me. I want to make sure I hear everything you say.
Diana Hilton, DIANA AGLTON. Amber was Amber is my sister and brother-in-law's only child. When Amber was 11 days old, her mom was having severe pain and was admitted to hospital, where they found that she had cancer. When Amber was 3 months old, Dorinda passed away. The last thing my sister said to me, the last time I was at the hospital, she said, "Please help take care of Amber." I quit work so that I could stay home and take care of Amber so she would be in daycare. I'll never forget how I felt to hold her and rock. When she started talking, she couldn't say Diana, and on her own, she started calling me Nina, and that's who I was to her. And Justin and Jacob, I was always Nina. The first time she brought Justin for us to meet him, I knew he was the one for her, and we loved him as our own.
They have beautiful fairy tale wedding. And Amber looks like a princess. And Justin her prince. We were all so happy when we found out they were having Jacob. They built a beautiful home after they were married, but it was so far from family and they wanted to move closer. Amber fell in love with a house in Berlina. It was her dream home. She and Justin were so happy to make a home there with little Jacob. I took the picture of them that everyone's seen standing in front of their home. Jacob loved it there. The little tiny fire truck that we've all seen in the pictures was Jacob's favorite. He would grab Kit Kat and put her in there, and she would make all these noises like she wanted out, so Amber would tell Jacob to put her down. She would act like she was going to get away, and then she would stop in front of the fire truck and wait for Jacob to come pick her up again and put her back in the fire truck with him. It was their little game. They were so happy. Justin was working and studying so hard to take his test to be a certified paramedic that he never completely unpacked his office at home. And then on November 17th, 2021, evil invaded their home and maliciously took Justin and Amber's lives. He, the monster, talks about the demonic lights in their home. Those lights were not demonic, it was their Christmas tree. The only thing demonic in their home was him and his black heart. Amber's mom was sick. She had no choice in leaving Amber to grow up without her. But this evil monster made the choice to break into their home and take Amber and Justin's life, leaving little Jacob to grow up without his mom or his daddy. That night changed all of our lives forever. For the first time ever, I sleep with a gun under my pillow. Sometimes when I wake up at night and I can't pinpoint what woke me up, I just reach under that pillow and touch my gun, and then pray that I never have to use it to hurt anyone. Justin and Amber will never be forgotten, just as Amber only knew her mom through our memories and pictures. Jacob will only know his mommy and daddy in the same way. Thank you, God.
Okay.
Your Honor, the next statement is going to be State's Exhibit 3. It is a written statement from Brandy. I'll read that now. My name is Brandy and Amber was my cousin. I say cousin because she was always more like a sister to all of us cousins. She lost her mom when she was only a few months old, so we all kind of took over as older siblings to her. Our family has always been close, and Amber was special to all of us. She was the baby of the cousins. Her smile could light up a room, and if you felt bad, she had a way of making you feel better. It was just her. Amber had the warmest hugs. She was always amazingly independent, and she had to do things on her own. I think she was the result of not having her mom around while she was growing up. We were all there for her, but that wasn't the same. We loved hearing her sing. Man, could she sing. She had such a sweet voice. We loved watching her play softball and just grow into the amazing person that she was. Then Justin came along. He was just this amazingly sweet guy, always a little goofy, but that was part of his charm. He was a big teddy bear. The love he had for our Amber was so evident in everything he did. The two of them together was just sweet. They loved each other from the time they were kids, and that love grew over the years as they went by. They got married and started their life together, and then little Jacob came along a few years later. They loved that boy fiercely. They had just bought their dream house. They loved that they were closer to family. Justin and Amber also wanted to extend their family. They wanted to add another little one to complete their family. They were trying to do that at the time of their death. The family, friends, and everyone that loved them will make sure that sweet little Jacob is told daily how much they loved him. That sweet boy will never truly experience that love they had for him and will never truly know their warm hugs and kisses. We will make sure he knows how amazing his parents were. They were amazing humans who just wanted to help others. Our lives are so much better just for knowing them. Just seeing all of the people at their funeral shows that so many people loved them. Our lives are better for just having them love us. We will always have our memories, but our lives are forever changed because of their deaths. We also have a huge hole in our hearts. We will never experience their warm hugs, their sweet laughs, or Amber singing again. We will continue to shine the light that they had for them since they are no longer here to do that. We have to live the rest of our lives without them, but we will always make sure they are never forgotten. Thank you.
Thank you.
And next, the state will call Laramie Hicks.
Raise your right hand, please. Both of you can raise your right hand. You do solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give the court in the matter now pending shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Thank you.
Laramie, if you'll first state your name and spell both your first and last name for the record.
My name is Laramie Hicks, still legally Sims, so Laramie Sims.
And what was your relationship to Justin?
Justin and Amber were my brother and sister-in-law. I'm married to Michael Hicks, Justin's brother. And starting out with this, I'd just like to say I didn't get to know them as long as I wanted to. My husband now and I were engaged on November 13th of 2021, 5 days before the engagement. I remember vividly getting text messages from both of them congratulating us on our engagement and wanting to be there for the celebration. 5 days later, we got a call from Amber's work saying she hadn't shown up. This is so unlike her. She was always reliable, sweet, caring, kind. My now husband and I drove as fast as we could from our workplaces over to their residence on the Courtroom Drive. Not only do we feel the loss of Justin and Amber, but everyone who has experienced this tragedy has lost a piece of themselves. We will never get to celebrate the rest of our lives with them how we were supposed to. He lost a brother. I lost a sister. When we got to the house, my mother-in-law Charlene, and my father-in-law Tim, and Amber's father didn't know what to make of anything. The people that I had known were gone. Not just Justin and Amber, but my in-laws, my husband, pieces of them, forever lost. When we got married a year later, my husband was deceased as man. His best friend. Mr. Lanz talked about the pain that he felt losing his brother. and still decided to inflict it on others. I hope that lives with him for the rest of his life. Knowing what he took from others. I also want to remind the court what everyone lost that day. Not just us, the friends and family, but Cherokee and Cobb County. Justin was a firefighter. He did everything in his power to protect others, to help others. And Amber worked with the public. She loved people. They both gave everything they had in service to others. The lives Justin would have saved. The lives Amber would have impacted. We've all lost something. Not just the friends and family, but the world. But our counties, our community. And then he is the sweetest little boy. He carries his parents' spirit. Kind, caring, loving, and just wants to help everyone. He will carry on the parents' legacy. We just ask for the maximum sentence for the monster that took everything from us, and not just us, the friends and family, but the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Laramie. Michael, if you will raise your right hand. Oh, we swore both in. Okay, Michael, if you'll introduce yourself and then go into your statement, please.
My name is Michael Hicks, and that's MICHAELHICKS.
Here today to speak about the loss of my brother Justin and my sister-in-law Amber. Though in-law was only on paper, Amber was every bit of family as Justin was. I want to tell you who they were, the life they brought into the world, and the unbearable weight their absence has placed on all of us. Justin and Amber lived their lives with purpose, kindness, and compassion. Justin was a firefighter. His entire career was built around helping others to save lives. And he carried that same selflessness into his personal life. Through how he lived his life, he was a testament every day to what it meant to be a loving son, brother, husband, and father. He was my hero long before he ever put on the uniform. Together, Justin and Amber created a family centered on being a light to everyone around them. Anyone who crossed their path felt their warmth, their generosity, and their genuine love. Losing them has shattered our family. There's not a single day that their absence isn't felt. We mourn not just the life they were living, but the life they should have had. The future moments they'll never get to share with Jacob, the memories they should still be making. Family gatherings feel incomplete, holidays feel hollow, and there is a permanent empty space in our hearts. For me personally, the hardest part of losing Justin, he was the person I leaned on, I learned from, and admired my entire life. To me, he wasn't just my brother, he was my best friend. He was the person I looked up to, the example I measured myself against. Losing him meant losing a part of myself, and losing Amber meant losing who brought so much love and joy in our family. The grief has affected every part of my life, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. It has changed how I move through the world. Justin and Amber deserve so much more time. They deserve so many more memories with Jacob. They deserve to keep being the light that they were to so many. Their loss has taken more from us than I can truly express in words. I ask the court to understand the magnitude of this loss, not just for me, but for everyone whose lives they've touched. Nothing can give back what was taken, but I hope justice honors the beautiful lives Justin and Amber lived and the devastating void their deaths have left behind. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Michael. Ashley Hicks.
Raise your right hand, please. You do solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give the court in the matter now pending shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. I do. Thank you.
Ashley, if you'll spell your first name.
My name is Ashley. That's spelled A-S-H-L-E-Y.
Can you share the impact statement you prepared for the court?
Justin was my big brother. And even though legally Amber is my sister-in-law, she became my big sister. I sit here today mulling over what was just really conveyed regarding the loss of Justin and Amber Hicks. It's hard. It's hard to put into words the true impact of this loss, aside from simply saying that it hurts in ways that are unimaginable. I sit here today still scrambling with my thoughts and hoping that what I've written says enough. In all honesty, I just want to be heard. I want it to be known that we're all still here. Well, they're not. We're still here trying to pick up the pieces. My big brother is gone, my big sister is gone, and I have no choice but to learn how to live with that. Justin, the big brother who I called Daju, because that first name was just too hard to say as a child. Justin, the big brother who stood behind me during my school dance pictures as a way of protecting me. Justin, the big brother who took me to my very first job interview with a big smile on his face as we both thought it would be fun to pull a little prank on our parents, saying I didn't get the job, even though we both knew fully well I did. Justin, the big brother who rooted for me every step of the way throughout my college career, and yet never got to see me graduate. Justin Hicks, the big brother who, when he first moved out of our home, told me he'd never be far away. And there's Amber, the big sister who knew me before I knew her. Amber, the big sister who smiled and laughed with her entire soul. Amber, the big sister who knew every Disney movie and sang every song at every chance she could get. Amber, the big sister who loved funfetti cake in the color purple. Amber, the big sister who wanted to make plans to hang out more once the move to be closer to everyone was settled. Amber, the big sister whose last words to me a week before life forever changed was that Christmas is for all of us to be together and that she loved me too. I've said their names over and over again for one reason: memory. That's what they've been reduced to now, is a memory. I don't want that forgotten. I don't want them forgotten, not in this room, not amongst the people sitting within this room today, or with anyone listening. I don't expect an apology, I don't expect any remorse, and I know that I'll never get an answer as to why this had to happen. A part of me has made some form of peace with this, understanding that the hole in my heart is one I have to learn to carry for the rest of my life. The other part of me still goes back to that day 4 years ago, sitting in the neighbor's driveway across the street, scared, and knowing that life was never going to do the same from that point on. And it's not. I miss them, and I miss how life used to be. I hate that every time I look at a fire truck, my heart feels heavy. I hate that every sound makes me nervous at night. And I hate that if I don't get a text back from my family, I think the worst thing possible could have happened. I hope that the efforts of this trial finally close this 4-year-long chapter, because I know everyone needs it. It won't,
bring closure like we want it to. It won't fill in the hole in our heart like we want it to. But it can finally put an end to what we've been waiting for now 4 very long years. Justin and Amber were always looking after each other and looking after others while they were here, up until their final moments. Now it's our turn to look after them and the legacy they left behind. Thank you.
Mark, Boggs, are you ready?
Could you both to raise your right hand, please?
It's just Mark.
Oh, you do solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give the court in the matter now pending shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Thank you.
Mark, if you'll start by introducing yourself to the court and spell both your first and last name for the court reporter.
Okay, my name is Mark Boggs, Mark Boggs.
What's your relationship to Amber?
Amber is my daughter.
And before we get into your statement, prior to today, did you help put together a slideshow of photographs, including Amber and yourself?
Yes.
All right,
Yes,
and we'll,
we did.
okay, and we'll play that for the court in just a little bit, but if you will now share the impact statement you've written for the court.
Well, it's really hard to follow the great love and what everybody said about Amber and Justin. It's incredible, but I have with me Judge Brown. Thank you for allowing me to speak today. I have with me here for my support Kirsten Bauer. Kirsten was a huge part of Amber's life. They were like sisters, and whenever I took Amber places as a kid, I always take Kirsten with me. And there's so many stories. I mean, we go to the Atlanta Zoo, and we got membership to the Atlanta Zoo. That's one story. As we went down to see Willie B, you know, and the kids had so much fun, you know, knocking on the glass and aggravating Willie. So anyway, Amber and I, we walked out and going, where's Kirsten at? And oh God, we had to turn around and go get Kirsten. She's still down there staring at Willie B, you know. But everywhere we went, you know, Kirsten was always a part of our lives and all of our other friends. But I just want to thank all the family and friends that have been here during the trial for their support. I love you all, and you know, it's our village. And there's so many more that have been part of the village. But today we gather to mourn the loss of my daughter, Amber, and my son-in-law, Justin. The little boy, Jacob, has been left without the guidance and love of both his parents. For 4 years now, our family has been engulfed in grief, and although we know closure may never come, we hold on to the hope that justice will be served and this monster never sees the outside again. Justice is what this defendant deserves, and I firmly believe that Mr. Lanz is a representative of pure evil. We'll just kind of like back up here and give a little background of Amber and myself. As a kidney transplant, my beautiful wife, Amber, my beautiful wife, Dorinda, longed to be a mother, despite the risk involved. In July of 1990, she gave birth to her miracle child, Amber. She was a month early and only weighed 4 pounds 11 ounces. We got to choose the date of when Amber would be born, and we chose July 5th. Mine's July 2nd, but we wanted her to have her own birthday. But just tragically, 2.5 months later, I lost my wife, and Amber lost her mom to lymphoma. I guess at that time I became a Mr. Mom. And taking a role as a single parent was an incredible experience. I dedicated myself to Amber's upbringing, exposing her to many activities, jazz, dance, tap, ballet, YMCA, camping, sports, and more. The joys that we had and shared on the lake during camping trips, it helped shape her childhood. And she always expressed excitement to me about passing those experiences over to Jacob. She said, "Dad, I want you to teach Jacob all that you taught me." Of course, I'm doing that with Jacob every time we're together. I have been playing baseball in the spring and lake life in the summer. And he is such a great boy. He's so much like his mama and his daddy. It's amazing. You see both of them. And as a father and a father-in-law of Amber and Justin, I want to remind everyone that I have the rights to that deserve recognition just as the killer does. The murder of my daughter and my son. The murder of my daughter and my son-in-law was not a random act. It was premeditated and intentional. Amber was my only child, and now I'm so lost without her. When I have Jacob on the weekends, he gives me strength to carry on. We're good buddies. Oh, yes, the both attitudes of Amber and Justin is perfect. It is. It's hilarious. 4 years ago, this past Monday, I had my last conversation with Amber and heard her voice for the final time. Every evening, despite her busy lives, after work, Amber would pick up her son, Jacob, and she called me to discuss her day. I mean, it was every day. We always talked. Our conversations were filled with laughter, frustrations, and love. I was always honored to be her sounding board and offer her advice whenever she needed it. I was so proud of Amber on her compassion and her dedication to her job. She was in the audiology field at NGA, North Georgia Audiology, and was respected by her peers. They all loved her. And Amber and I were so close, she always reminded me about my health, particularly regarding my hearing aids, warning me and saying that neglecting them would lead to early dementia. So, I mean, there was no arguing with my daughter. Mulehead. So I made sure I got myself a new set of ears. So, well, still got better ears than a cornfield. But her care, nature, and concern for my well-being reflected her love and commitment, especially because she wanted me to live a long life, and I would be there for Jacob. She would comment about say how much fun I am, and saying, Jacob is going to love hanging out with his papa. Yeah. Amber's light brightened every room she entered, and all she knew will contest to the infectious quality of her smile and laughter. Oh, but when her and Justin were together and I walked in the room, it was a whole another game. They were incredible. They were just perfect for each other. But the senseless act of violence that took Amber and Justin from us has shattered our family. leaving Jacob without his parents. It's hard to convey the pain and grief that has accompanied the loss of a child. The haunting memories of Amber and Justin's final moments are a burden I will carry every day, and all of us will carry every day. It's a reality that feels like an impossible dream. Amber and Justin were remarkable individuals and loving parents, bringing positivity and humanity into this world. It's incomprehensible why Matthew Lanz would choose to take their lives in cold blood. That was never God's plan. I'm a member of the POMC, it's Parents of Murdered Children in Marietta. I started that about a year and a half ago. This is a place where I find solace in sharing our feelings of grief and anger with one another. Understanding our shared experiences helps us to navigate the overwhelming loss that we face together. And, you know, this is my POMC family, Nancy, and their support has really helped. I love them. They are a true family. We're grateful, Judge, that the convicted killer of Lance is competent to be held accountable, was shown and proven. The actions he chose to take the lives of Amber and Justin's hold accountable of his earthly justice. I just know that after Matthew Lanz spent 9 months in Georgia Regional, it appears that he had learned how to manipulate the system. It's clear that he is intelligent and educated. Therefore, I urge the court to impose the maximum penalty. Matthew Lanz should serve his life in prison without the possibility of parole. It is shocking that you, Matthew Lanz, gets to breathe and speak and engage with the world while Amber and Justin have been silenced forever. You are a coward that you will not show up today. I will never hear the word Dad again. And I miss you. And love you, Amber and Justin. Your lives and your legacy will live on forever. And we will teach Jacob everything about you all. Thank you, Judge. Appreciate it.
Thank you. And finally, Charlene.
Raise your right hand, please. You do solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give the court in the matter now pending shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Thank you.
Right, and Charlene, if you'll first spell your first name for the record.
CHALENE.
Take your time.
I don't know how to do this. I shouldn't have to do this. I don't know how to take 31 years and combine and small memories to convey who Justin was. When I looked into his life, born, I did not have 31 years. To know them was to love them. I know it's a cliche thing, to say just the truth. They made no enemies. But she could have met Jacob. To look into his eyes, you see the same beautiful soul. Staring back, you see Justin and Amber. Jacob is a carbon copy of his dad in appearance. And he's got the same attitude as his mom. Can't argue with him. I'll just simply say, I want to ask that he gets the monster kiss life, because we've all been sentenced to life without just over. I don't know how to do that. Watching my children hearing pain. I just, Jacob, he asked me the other day, he said, I know my mom and dad haven't come to see them. Oh, not yet, baby, but we'll all go one day. Picture day, he asked me, whose smile do I have? Which one should I use? I said, either one is good, baby, they both look great. I said, just don't give me that typical cheese smile, give me an actual. But I stand before you and ask that he is sentenced to the maximum whatever it is. And I stand before you, Jacob, ask the same. And that's all I don't know what to say.
Charlene, really quickly, did you and your husband provide some photos to us to include in a slideshow presentation for
Yeah.
All right, the court? Thank you so much.
Your Honor, at this time, we do have two exhibits that I've shown defense counsel. The first is State Sentencing Exhibit 4, which is a slideshow presentation of photos of Justin and Amber and their family, along with photos of them together that were taken from State's Exhibit 472, which is the phone extraction of Amber Hicks.
Barry.
Those were shown to me earlier and we had no objection.
Thank you. You may proceed.
Sorry, I have to log back in.
And then finally, Your Honor, we have state's sentencing exhibit 5. This will be the evidence that the state presents in aggravation, which has been shown to defense counsel. The 2 photographs and 1 video contained in state sentencing exhibit 5 again came directly from state's 472, which was Amber's phone extraction. Your Honor, this photo here was taken on November 6th of 2021. This was the very last family photo, just 11 days prior to the murder. This was following a weekend they spent camping together. This here, Your Honor, is the last video.
This little guy loves you too. He does not want to go to sleep tonight, so we're just hanging out. Can you say hi, Nana? Yeah, Nana.
That video was the very last video of Jacob with his mommy on November 13th, 2021. And it was on the very couch where his mom would be executed just 4 days later. And thank God Matthew Lanz didn't break through that window 4 days prior, because it was almost at the exact same minute that she was executed. And finally, this photo here. This photo was taken on November 17th of 2021. This is the very last photo of Jacob with his daddy, taken 9.5 hours before his dad was executed. Jacob would never be held in his dad's arms again. Your Honor, no one saw this coming. I'm not going to belabor the point here. You've seen and heard the evidence in this case. It's clear that this man deserves the maximum possible sentence. And it's not just for the murders. It's not just for the home invasion, the gun charges, the cruelty, but for robbery. He's not charged with robbery, but it is by far the most heinous crime that he committed. He robbed Justin and Amber's friends of their friends with the biggest hearts, their angels on earth. He robbed the Cherokee County Fire Department from one of their brothers. He robbed Tim and Charlene of their firstborn child. He robbed Mark from his one and only child, his baby girl. Mark had already lost his wife when Amber was just 2.5 months old. Never in a million years did he think that he would repeat history like that. And Matthew Lanz robbed Jacob of his parents forever. Jacob only had 2 birthdays on this earth with his mom and dad. He didn't get to spend a single Christmas with his mom and dad that he would actually remember. He didn't get to be dropped off for his first day of kindergarten by his mom and dad. He didn't get to go to his first baseball practice with his mom and dad. He didn't get to have his mom and dad at any school function, like muffins with mom or donuts with dad. He doesn't get to sit at the dinner table and do homework with his mom and dad. He doesn't get his mom and dad to teach him how to drive. He doesn't get to have his mom and dad at any graduation. He doesn't get to have his mom and dad in the bleachers of any high school games. He doesn't get to go on college tours with his mom and dad. He doesn't get to invite his mom and dad for Parents' Weekend.
He won't have his dad standing beside him one day when he gets married. He won't get to have a first dance with his mom. He doesn't get to become a father and share that beautiful moment with his mom and dad. That moment where all of a sudden you really deeply understand just how remarkable your mom and dad really are and how much they love you. And most importantly, Jacob will never have a sibling. The greatest gift you can give a child on this earth is a sibling. And that was certainly the intent of Justin and Amber, is to give Jacob, at a minimum, one sibling, but I'm sure many more. And he was robbed of that opportunity. Jacob obviously has a lot of love and support, and for that I'm grateful. But you cannot replace a child's mom and dad. It's actually amazing when you look at child development. Children have an incomparable bond and attachment to their parents. And this bond is so deep and so innate that it remains true even if their parents aren't the best parents. Look at kids in foster care. Parents who may have been in and out of jail, who may have struggled with addiction, who had prioritized them, and yet their children still love them and put them on a pedestal. If children like that are so deeply connected to subpar parents, think about how profound Jacob's bond was to his mom and dad. They were perfect. Their lives revolved around Jacob, and happily so. And they loved their son. The Eighth Amendment is supposed to protect against cruel and unusual punishment. Unfortunately, that protection only goes one way. This defendant cannot receive a punishment that's considered cruel and unusual under the Constitution, but he sure gave Jacob one. At the young age of 2 years, Jacob was sentenced to life without his parents. He will never have his mommy and daddy back. This defendant literally tore a piece of Jacob's heart and soul out of his body, robbing him of the only thing that mattered to him on this earth. This defendant has already received mercy and will continue to receive mercy because he gets to breathe air and he gets to receive love and support from his mom and dad. He even gets to choose whether he wants to face the devastating impact that his actions created, which is what we've seen today by choosing not to be present for his sentencing hearing and choosing not to hear the victim impact statements. All of that's mercy. Mercy that Jacob doesn't get. Jacob doesn't get to hear his mom and dad. He doesn't get to see them. He doesn't get to feel their love and support. He doesn't get to breathe the same air that they breathe. This defendant does not deserve an ounce more of mercy than he's already getting. We are asking that you sentence the defendant to the maximum sentence, which is as follows. For count 1, malice murder, the state is asking for a sentence of life without the possibility of parole. For count 2, malice murder, the state is asking for life without the possibility of parole consecutive to count 1. For counts 3, 4, 5, and 6, felony murder, those will be vacated by operation of law. Count 7, home invasion, the state is asking for a life sentence consecutive to count 2. Count 8 and 9 are aggravated assault counts. Both will merge. Count 8 merges with count 1. Count 9 merges with count 2. Count 10, possession of firearm during commission of a felony, 5 years to serve consecutive to count 7. Count 11, possession of firearm during commission of a felony, 5 years to serve consecutive to count 10. Count 12, cruelty to children in the second degree, 10 years to serve consecutive to count 11. And count 13, tampering with evidence, 12 months to serve consecutive to count 12. For a total sentence of 2 consecutive life without parole sentences, plus an additional life sentence consecutive, plus an additional 20 years to serve in custody consecutive, plus an additional 12 months to serve in custody consecutive. This is the only sentence that even comes close to justice for the irreparable and permanent damage that he has caused to all those before you, to all those in the community, and most importantly to Jacob.
Thank you.
Attorney Berry?
Sorry, do we have a letter from the defense?
Your Honor, I've been doing this for 55 years. I've seen a lot of heartbreak, pain, and sorrow brought on by tragedies such as this. As a parent, the loss of a child is almost too much to bear. Our hearts go out to the family of Justin and Amber. I've done a lot of these trials. I don't think I have seen as many people attend not only the competency hearing that we had, but also this trial. I think that certainly is a tribute to the lives of Justin and Amber. I think certainly the family should be proud of the number of people that are here and the people that want to honor them. As I said in my opening statement, this trial is about who was to blame, and secondly, why this happened. I know this court, because I know this court, you looked at every piece of evidence and rendered a verdict that you felt was fair. So now this court has determined who committed these crimes. However, we still don't know why. A lingering question in the minds of a lot of people to know. And that question of why is where we're going to ask the court for some measure of mitigation. I've dealt with this case for the last 4 years. I've dealt with Matthew for the last 4 years. I believe that Matthew had and still has a mental illness. I think our ability to consider mercy is what makes us human. And it's hard to want to give any measure of mercy in this particular case. However, we are asking the court to give whatever measure of mercy that you can for Matthew, because we still don't know why. We still don't know what the motive would be. The lead detective, when I asked him about the motive, the lights, maybe his brother, the brother who was killed. After the death of his brother, he went downhill pretty quickly. All we can ask of the court is simply to consider those things that the court heard in our previous 4-day hearing concerning his mental health and what this court heard in the trial of his case. And that's all we can ask. I know the court will consider those. Thank you, John.
Thank you. Any Green or any Roberts, do you have anything as well?
No, thank you.
Okay. All right, so this time I am going to step off the bench to take into consideration what the court has heard today, the facts, the law, and we'll make a decision rendering the sentence, and we'll come back out at that time to pronounce the sentence by the attorney's approach. Just one moment. All right, we'll stand in recess. We are back on the record with the State of Georgia versus Matthew Scott Lanz, 229-00922. The court, the clerk, the court reporter, Mr. Berry represents Mr. Lanz, and the state represented by Assistant District Attorneys Green and Horowitz are present here in the open courtroom. Mr. Lanz has waived his right to appear for the sentencing. I'll start by saying that this is not an easy job. And I'm not saying that because I want sympathy or empathy from anyone. I signed up to do this job. I say that because there is no joy that comes in sentencing someone to the very minimum the law says will be a life sentence. There is no joy that comes from hearing from the loved ones about the devastation that has been caused in their lives. But I made a decision that I wanted to do this job. I made a decision that I wanted to do this job and that I committed to upholding my oath, of upholding the laws and the Constitution of the state of Georgia, as well as the law and Constitution of the United States. And I take my oath very seriously. And there were three things that I committed to doing when I sought to get this job. That was to be of service, to serve with compassion, and to be just. And being just or justice is very different in every case that comes before the court, whether it is a criminal case, a domestic case, or a civil case. Because it is very, very rare that anybody comes into this courtroom for something of joy. Whether it is a criminal case, there is a defendant before the court, or victims coming before the court, or I'm making a decision in someone's divorce about custody or visitation of their children, or someone comes in, there is a business dispute in their livelihood, the way they feed their families. I have to decide that. As Mr. Dixie said something when you were here in the witness stand, you said, Judge, I know you hear a lot of cases and you see a lot of cases, and I do, unfortunately. But every single case that comes before this court is important. Every single case that comes before this court deserves the court's full attention. Deserves the court's full commitment to its oath, and deserves the court's full commitment to what the court said it would do in this position. This is the community in which I live, that I chose to live. I chose to live with my family. This is a community that I love. And that's what makes this job difficult. Because what does justice look like? Every case is different. The attorneys, law enforcement, prosecution, defense. We choose to be here every day. We made this decision to do this work. It doesn't mean that it makes it easy, whether you're state or defense, in the work that we do. But we all seek to be just, to seek the truth, to take the facts and apply the laws that have been given to us with those facts, and do the best that we can do. And in doing so, and not allowing, when you're making a decision, you don't leave your human side at the door. You don't leave your human side at the door. But you have to remember that you have to look at the facts, you have to look at the law, and you have to apply it. Even when it may not be the popular thing, or the things that people want you to do, it's without fear or favor that we serve. And to be servants of the people. That's what makes this job difficult, because you have to separate the human emotion from the facts and the law that you have before you. But I swore an oath. And I swore an oath, again, to uphold the laws and the Constitution of both Georgia and the United States, and I committed to being of service, to serving with compassion, and to being just. And so in the case of the state of Georgia versus Matthew Scott Lanz, 229-00922, the court sentences Mr. Lanz as follows. Count 1, malice murder, life without the possibility of parole. Count 2, malice murder, life without the possibility of parole. Count 2 will run consecutive to count 1. By operation of law, counts 3, 4, 5, and 6 are vacated. Count 7, home invasion, life consecutive to count 2. Counts 8 and 9, count 8, aggravated assault merges into count 1, count 9, aggravated assault merges into count 2. Count 10, possession of firearm during commission of a felony, 5 years to serve in confinement. Count 10 runs consecutive to count 7. Count 11, possession of firearm during commission of a felony, 5 years to serve in confinement. Count 11 runs consecutive to count 10. Count 12, cruelty to children in the second degree. Count the 10 years to serve in confinement. Count 12 will run consecutive to count 11. Count 13, tampering with evidence, 12 months confinement. Count 13 will run consecutive to count 12. Mr. Lanz is adjudged guilty for the above stated offenses and is sentenced for a total of 2 life without parole plus life plus 20 years plus 12 months to serve in confinement. I'll have the attorneys look at the sentencing sheet. Mr. Berry, as far as Mr. Lanz signing, are you going to sign, or will you take it back for him to sign, or will you sign the sentence? Okay. Clerk, the sentence sheet has been signed. Can you please file it into the records of the court? Attorney Berry, as Mr. Lanz has waived his right to be present, I am going to hear on the record review his post-conviction rights with you, and if you would please stay in your place that you will review those rights with him.
I spoke with him yesterday about that, Judge, and again this morning, so he's aware.
Okay. And for the record, the defendant has the right to seek post-judgment relief from the conviction of the crimes by either making a motion for a new trial in this court and or filing an appeal to a higher appellate court. If he wants to file a motion for a new trial or an appeal, then he will need to file a motion or notice of appeal with the clerk of Superior Court of this county within 30 days. He may want to more fully discuss this with his attorney, and if a motion for a new trial is made and the court denies it, then he will have 30 days from the filing of this order of denial in which to file with the clerk of court his notice of appeal. The defendant has a right to have an attorney represent him on the motion for a new trial, and the first level of direct appellate review. And if he cannot afford to hire an attorney, the court will provide him with an attorney and a transcript of the trial at no cost. There were several felony convictions, and we'll have a period of 4 years from the date of the sentence in this court becomes final to file a habeas corpus petition. The details that can affect the time with which Mr. Lanz can file his petition are contained within code subsection OCGA section 9-14-42C. For the misdemeanor will be a period of 1 year from the date of the sentence in this court becomes final to file a habeas corpus petition. Again, the details of the time that can affect the filing of this petition are filed within OCGA sections 9-14-42C and 40-13-33. And also just explaining to ensuring that Mr. Land understands those post-conviction rights. The court will set a specified date for a hearing for the motion of the new trial once the motion has been filed, and the time estimate for the preparation of the transcript has been prepared. And we will set that date and provide notice to both the state and the defense. Before we adjourn here, there's a couple of final things I want to say. First, there are the words that I can say to the family and friends that are going to fill the void in your hearts, and I recognize that. There is nothing that I can do or a sentence that can replace the ache in your spirit. I don't even want to use the word closure, because there is no closing on the love that you have for Justin and Amber. But it is my hope, and my sincere hope, that you can take, even if it's just a small step, forward towards healing. That the thoughts of Justin and Amber that now bring tears to your eyes will be more memories that will bring smiles to your heart. Recognize that Jacob does not have his mom and dad. Dad isn't there to throw him his first football and teach him to swing a bat, but he has granddad who's going to show him how to do that. Or mom to show up for muffins and mom. With a lot of aunties and grandma and cousin aunties that will be there to do that for him. A few weeks ago, I saw a response to a post that a friend made, that someone had made about the loss of their loved one. And it stuck with me the last few weeks. And it said, "What is remembered lives." And I know that Justin and Amber are well remembered, so they will live. This court is adjourned.
Thank you.